Hey there guys, and welcome to 0.17. I'm Xterminator. I'm super happy to be here. I'm glad you're here, and we are doing an overview video of all the major features for the 0.17 update, which just came out like 2 hours ago. So we're going to hop right into it. I do want to quickly mention though that I'm not covering every single feature, every single thing that was mentioned in the changelog. There's quite a lot. I'm just covering the main things that you'll notice. If you want every little detail, you can go check out the changelog, which is on the forums. I'll link it in the description. But let's just get straight to it. So first off, in the menus here, you can see we have a bit of a different menu look, and that's part of the GUI update. So we'll just hop around some of the menus here. You can see here, kind of, all that. Settings, it's a lot more kind of visually. You can see here the difference between this and what it used to be. All of these are pretty much like that. You can see the controls, it's all separated and stuff, really nice. They all have some of them have little question things. So there's that. And then the map generator. So if you go to do a new game, the map generator now looks quite different. You can do these presets, which we've always had. This island one, though, is one that was talked about in a Friday Facts fairly recently, where this will spawn you on an island with just water forever around you. So this could be good for like challenge runs, and if you set multiple spawn points as well, then you can actually have like multiple islands with different people. So there's that. So these now have like a much more intuitive sliders. You can see here 50%, 25, 600% on the iron ore and stuff. You can change all that. Terrain as well. So water, overall scale features and the space between them. So water, trees, and then coverage is how much to cover the map with this feature. So more would obviously be more water, so on and so forth. Cliffs, moisture, overall scale features and space between them, which is the same that, but moisture is controls the distribution of grass versus desert. So higher bias generates more grass. So over here, that's where we would do that. Terrain type controls the distribution of red desert versus sand. Higher bias generates more red desert. Map type, island, again, you can do that. Enemies, so you can check peaceful mode, of course. This is pretty much the same, but a lot of the biter settings have changed here. We'll just actually read from the patch notes directly for this part because there's quite a bit. So biter generation changed, biter richness slider removed, biter placement is only configured by size and frequency settings. Biter generation settings now have much more dramatic effects. Increase the number of steps for each setting. Biter bases will increase in size, frequency, and number of worms depending on the distance from the player spawn. Stuff like that. One thing to note here, which is important with the resources, is some of that has changed. So the starting area now only contains iron, copper, coal, and stone in very predictable amounts. Uranium, oil are excluded from the starting area. So this is really important to note because you will not get oil or uranium in your starting area. So if you set like a really large starting area, you're probably going to have to go quite a ways to get uranium and oil. That's an important note there. And then water spawns a bit differently too, which I'll show you once we get in the map. And then advanced settings, of course, are pretty much the same. Pollution, these have been changed a bit. So like absorption modifier, you can actually set this lower than normal, so your pollution spreads even faster than default if you want to do like some crazy death world or something. Diffusion ratio, you can increase that, all that. So there's that. That's map generator. If you go to, you can import strings and stuff as well. So if we just like bump up some of that terrain, let's just do like super high water and preview. You can see now the cool thing is you can tweak this now with the preview. So you can kind of see what this would look like. If we say lower the water, it will regenerate the preview automatically, and you can now visually see the difference. You can see the iron patches and all that. It's super cool. I really, really like that. So let's hop into game, which I know you're all excited about. So I set up some stuff to demonstrate. Let's get right to it. So major thing is you can see the GUI is changed. You can see our main quick bar, toolbar thing here is changed. We have a new thing here. This looks a little bit different, just the style, the tech tree thing looks way different. I'll cover that in a second. The map as well looks mostly the same, but you just see like a little retouch of stuff here, right? So there's that. But one major thing is science changes, guys. Okay, so I've set up a visual demonstration. We have the old recipes. Okay, this is what they were before 0.17 here. This furnace is representing copper plate. But so this, what they used to take, red and green are unchanged in 17, so these remain the same. But the blue science pack now is called a chemical science pack instead of science pack 3. And it used to take engines and red circuits and miners. Military pack used to take piercing ammo, turrets, and grenades. Production science used to take furnaces and electric engines, and then high tech used to take blue circuits or processing units, whatever you want to call them, copper cable, speed module 1s, and batteries. However, now, again, red, green are unchanged. Military still takes piercing ammo and grenades, but it now takes walls instead of the turrets, which makes it far less iron heavy and even copper heavy too. And then the Science Pack 3, again, I said it's called Chemical Science now, and it takes a solid fuel, advanced circuit, and an engine instead of the miner. So basically, the miner is replaced with solid fuel, which makes it a bit more oil heavy, but way, way less iron and circuit heavy and stuff. And then this one, what used to be called production, is still called production, but the recipes actually changed quite significantly. Instead of just electric engine, electric furnace, it's now just electric furnace, 30 rails, and a productivity module. Okay, which is interesting. The rails is quite a bit, but they're pretty cheap. Productivity module makes perfect sense. But one thing to note here, guys, is this one, the chemical science, now gives you 2. It used to only give you 1. And the production and utility actually only now give you 3 instead of 2. So that's an important note there on those outputs. And then the high tech, what used to be high tech, which is now utility, still takes a blue circuit. However, it now takes a robot frame and 3 low density structures instead of the cable, the speed module, and the battery. And it actually takes 2 processing units as well. But yeah, so it's a bit less stuff. It's a little, like, this is a bit more expensive, obviously, than maybe like a speed module. But it's a lot simpler to work with. You don't have to mess with the cable and all that. So that's changed. The science pack recipes have changed. In terms of the tech tree, a lot has changed visually. You can see here where we actually see the tree itself is now transparent background. I've used the command to unlock all tech. The little pack icons for each tech have now become nice and pretty looking. And with that, the science packs are now unlocked with their own technology. So red's just unlocked from the start, obviously. But then green is unlocked here. Logistics science pack is now unlocked in its own tech. And you can see here how much it costs. This GUI's changed a little bit too. The chemical science, again, has its own thing, which you get after advanced circuits. And then production science here is well you get after productivity module and advanced material processing. And then, of course, the utility you get after advanced electronics 2 and low density structures. Which brings me to the next thing, is the rocket parts. The low density structures, rocket control units, and rocket fuel are now unlocked all with their own tech. And you can see this is actually a much different icon, way nicer. I hope they replace the actual icon like in your crafting menu with this and stuff. That would be really cool. This makes a lot more sense. So this is now unlocked with its own tech after chemical science. Okay. And then if we look for rocket control unit, here we go. This guy is now unlocked after utility science with its own science here. And then so that comes then before the atomic bomb and the rocket silo. And then lastly, rocket fuel is unlocked after flammable. So you can actually get rocket fuel really quite soon after you unlock oil processing and stuff. And what this means, guys, is that you can now use these before you get a rocket. And the rocket silo only unlocks the ability to make a rocket. So you don't need that research to now get these other parts, which is pretty nice because some of these other parts are actually used in other stuff, which I'll go into later. All military upgrades are now grouped into 7 techs. So before, there was like gun turret speed, laser turret speed, gun turret damage, laser turret damage, so on and so forth. These are now all grouped. So energy weapon damage, boom. These are all just together. This is robots, laser turret, and laser beam, robot beam, whatever. And then physical projectile damage, refined flammables, which is flamethrower and just fire damage in general. stronger explosives, which is explosive stuff, artillery shell, and artillery shooting speed, and that's all the military. So they've grouped them together here so it's not so convoluted, which is pretty interesting. And it's actually better, I think, resource-wise, because you actually get multiple upgrades for one tech here. And so that's that. And then moving on, kind of with that, is the game can now be won without a satellite being in your rocket when you launch it. So you can now win the game by just launching a rocket. And the satellite, I believe, is its own technology that you get with the space science tech. So there's actually a tech to unlock space science, and that gives you the ability to make a satellite. Okay, and then the way you get space science is by putting the satellite in the rocket. So if you just launch a rocket by itself, you can win the game and you won't get any science packs, but you do get the victory. If you want to get the science packs, then you put the satellite in, and obviously you can still win with a satellite if you do that, but that's how you get the science packs, which is pretty interesting. I like it. So what else here? We now have new graphics for quite a bit of stuff. We'll cover those next. So over here we have a new accumulator graphic. Ignore this is the electrical energy interface to give me infinite power. So we have the new accumulator graphic. We have power poles. This is now the big electric pole, the small electric pole, and the medium electric pole. I like these graphics much more, especially the big one here. It looks quite nice. The wooden chest, iron chest, and steel chest have changed. And then logistics, we have provider, passive provider, active provider, buffer storage, and requester chest. Over here, this beast is the new rocket silo. This looks awesome. It's actually animated with the fans. When the rocket starts moving up, it's pretty similar, which is why I'm not showing it. It's pretty similar to what it was. It moves up and these things clamp onto it. It's really quite cool. We could power this on and see if it makes a difference. Not really, but there's that. And then we have the, obviously, substation as well. And then gun turret, laser turret, and flamethrower turret, I think were just made HD. I don't think the laser turret changed graphics a bit. I don't think these two did. And then very noticeably, we have the wall and gate graphics here, which is pretty awesome. And actually, for you guys, I'm actually just going to set up here. Those are the wrong chests. I'm going to set up here very quickly. Oh no, these are the infinity chest. A thing to make the rocket so that we can actually see what it looks like, and we'll go over this other stuff while that's happening. Okay, so quite a bit of changes with all that. It's pretty significant. So that thing we'll just throw, I know you should use productivity, but we'll just throw speed in there for the heck of it. Okay, so there's the new graphics, which are pretty awesome. Belt graphics as well have changed. You can see they now have like the little rotary things under them, as well as the splitters and stuff, and the underground flaps here look a bit different, which is awesome. With belts, they now move more items. So they now move, yellow moves 15 items a second, you can see there. Red now moves 30, and blue now moves 45, up from the like 13.3, 26.6, and 40. And this is due to spacing changes that they did on the belts. And to compensate for this, they've also changed the smelting time of iron plate, copper plate, steel, and stone brick. So iron plate, copper plate, and stone brick now take 3.2 seconds to smelt, down from 3.5. And then the steel is 16, down from 17.5. And theoretically what this should mean is that your smelting setup should still work and give you a compressed belt and stuff like that, because it should compensate for the speed changes, which is pretty awesome. So there's that. So chemical plant craft speed has also changed. The chemical plant used to be a craft speed of 1.25. It's now a craft speed of 1. Okay, they've now added the research queue, which is available after you finish the game by launching a rocket with a satellite in it. So once this thing's built, we could throw a satellite in here, and if I can find it, there we go. And then we should be able to get a research queue. And this thing's almost done, actually. So we can just check this out. It's preparing. Still have the option to auto launch with cargo. I'm going to put a satellite in here. So you can see here, preparing, the doors slide open, these things are going to clamp on. It's super cool. I love this new graphic for it. It looks awesome. So let's throw this in here and launch it. And then while that's going, another thing to cover is I mentioned some of the rocket parts are used in other things. The low density structures. Oh, this looks so cool, dude. Boom. The low density structures are now used in some high tier equipment. So Victory, you can now like name it or whatever, but I'm going to continue. We obviously don't want to finish. And this outputs our science because we put a satellite in there. Yeah, so some things use low density structures now in their equipment. So like the Power Armor Mark II now takes low density structures in the crafting recipe, which is pretty interesting. So does the portable fusion reactor, you can see here. So there's some changes with that. I think the laser defense as well uses some low density structures, as do the batteries, which is pretty interesting. And the RoboPort. So pretty much all your high tier personal power armor equipment will now take low density structures. So research. So here's the research queue now. I can just add stuff, I guess, after this. Yeah, so it'll just queue it up one after the other, and I don't think you can rearrange them. I think you have to like actually get rid of them like this. But so there's you can queue up. What is this? 1, 2, 3, like 6 or 7 items. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so there's that. Let's cover this really quick. There's anti-mixing capabilities now with pipes. So what does this mean? This basically means now that we can actually just reset this to be normal to be easier. This means now that you can't really mix fluids, which obviously you never really wanted to do, but it happened a lot by accident, which was quite annoying. And you can see here as this is going to produce stuff that I'm going to try to like mix these pipes, and it's not going to work. You can see it literally won't connect. Can't connect systems with different fluids. Now obviously that connected because it was an empty pipe. But you can see here, this now doesn't allow you to mix fluids, which is super nice because you used to do a ton by accident, and now it's not even possible, which is really, really nice. You can't accidentally get contaminated stuff. So moving down to the quick bar. So this is what used to be your tool bar, your tool belt. This is now a quick bar, which is really, really awesome. So what this means is these are now reference slots, not actual item slots. You can't actually hold items here. It looks like there are, but what this is doing is pulling a reference from my inventory. So when I hit a key to pull it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., it's pulling this from inside my inventory. Okay, so these are no longer slots to hold items, but you can set them just by clicking on them if you want. And this will set them to whatever. And this will actually show you how much is in your inventory. So these are now reference slots to your inventory, and they have made the inventory 2 rows bigger to compensate for the lack of space here, which is awesome. You can set a ton of these, and you can set like presets, right? So you can click on them and set an entire preset. So say you wanted a rail building one, you could set it with, like rail stuff here. Say you wanted an oil one, you could set it with all kind of oil stuff here, and then you can switch them back and forth. So I could just do that, and I think there are hotkeys for this, like Shift 1. So Shift 1 changes it back to this one. You can look in the hotkeys menu for more info there, but yeah, so that'll do that, which is super, super nice. Over here on the right, we have kind of a quick access thing, which is super cool. So it's a shortcut. So you can set all this stuff. If you click this little thing here, you can set all what's in here. And I've not found a way to have hotkeys assigned to this. It may be buried in the controls menu somewhere. I really hope there is a way, but even if there's not, you can click it, which is awesome. So like here, this is just toggle alt info, pretty simple. You can do that with a hotkey anyway. But copy, paste, a really nice one is toggle personal RoboPort. So my RoboPorts are on. If I turn this off and then ghost place, and you can see a little ghost icon, I love it. My ports are off. It won't do it, which is awesome because then I can walk over stuff and not place. Also, you can toggle your exoskeletons. You can see I now slow down. Blueprint book, blueprint, upgrade planner, all that. So that's really cool. I really hope we can do hotkeys. Maybe you can already. Let me know if you guys find it. So there's that. Now there's all kind of functionality with building. So first off, the upgrade planner obviously works pretty much like the mod did. You can right click it to set it, and you can have like tons of different things here set. So I've just set belts, and I'm going to use this little thing as a demonstration. You just select it. It's going to show you what's being upgraded, and it will upgrade them, but it's not instant like the other thing was on the other mod. So if we turn this back on, our bots will now replace it for us. So it kind of just selects things to be upgraded, which is pretty interesting. So, you know, if we put down like some of these, we'd have to configure it in here, but it's extremely straightforward, which I really like. And then like this guy to this guy, and then we can just do this, and our bots will replace them, which is awesome. With assemblers, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but there's just so much stuff here, guys. With assemblers, all assemblers can now craft anything. There's no ingredient element on assemblers, so like you can now make a rocket silo on a level 1 assembler if you felt so inclined. I don't know that you'd want to, but you can. However, level 1 assemblers do not have fluid slots, so you will need like level 2s to make, say, like electric engines. But that is really pretty interesting. So back to the like building tools. There's multiple stuff. There's copy paste, Control C, Control X, which is like copy cut, I guess. Control V, which is paste. And then Shift mouse wheel allows you to cycle through clipboard. So if we just say, grab some stuff here to, so like copy, we do that, boom, we can copy it, and then paste, I can just Control V to bring up the paste. So Control C will bring this up from here. So I can like say, let's Control X. So this is like a cut thing. If I Control X this, it'll get rid of it, deconstruct it, and then I can place it wherever. And then if I Shift mouse wheel, I can move. See, I have these. So let's grab another one here. I can now Shift mouse wheel through my clipboard. I don't know how far back this goes. If you can just have like 10 or infinite, but this is really cool. You can move through these if you want. And then there's also an undo function. So say I take a deconstruction planner and accidentally do this, I can Control Z and it undoes it. Same goes for this. So if I Control V this, I can Control Z it and undo it. So super simple, same controls you would use for anything else on a computer. It's really, really nice. Let's see, what else? The map editor can now be toggled on and off in game. If you open your chat and do /editor, this now allows you to do map editor stuff in game. So this has now put me in like God mode, basically. And you can play, I mean, you can just do whatever. I'm not going to show it all off, but I mean, you could put like worms or spiders or whatever, or spitters, whatever you want, which is super cool. I don't know. Okay, so you just do the command again to get out of it, which is super nice. Excuse me. So we have that now in game. Rich text tags, which is kind of something. It's a bit of a pain. You have to like type out like this coded stuff to do it. I don't ever see there being a use for it, but what there is a use for is you can like link stuff in the chat. So if you have your chat open, for example, and I have like this, and I shift click like a location, so you can see there I shift clicked, and I enter it. If someone clicks on this, it'll open the map view and mark where that is, which is super, super cool. Also, like with a blueprint, so if I have a blueprint in my inventory and I have the chat open, I think maybe I need like my inventory open. There we go. And I do that. So again, this, you can't put items in here. This is a reference. So you can do that, and you can link a blueprint, and then someone can click it and open it. So this is like super nice for stuff, you know, item pipe to ground. You can link all this stuff by shift clicking it. It's super, super cool. Also, you can ping in the map as well. I'm trying to find my note as to where you can do that. Controls, let's see, let's look up here. Apologize, there's so much. So map ping, okay, it's a bit of, no wonder I didn't remember. It's Control-Alt-Click. So Control-Alt-Click pings the location and then automatically links it in chat, which is super nice. So you can now ping people, which is really, really cool. I think that's it for that type of stuff. Let's move on to trains. There's a ton of new train stuff. So there's new train GUIs, first off. If you open up a station thing, but once we place a train, you'll see all kind of stuff. So this whole thing, if we add a station, so Tom Rochette, and you add like way conditions or whatever, full cargo, and then like empty cargo, you can change the and or, but you can like move, you can drag and drop this stuff, I believe. So you take the little line things here and you can drag and drop these wherever you want. Same with these, you can rearrange conditions, which is really nice. Super, super nice. So Tom Rochette, so there's that. You can see here it even looks a bit different. So I have a few things I want to demonstrate with you really quick. So Tom Rochette is number one. Worms also, yeah, we'll cover that in a minute. And then Tyler Rochette. So basically, you can have waypoints. So a station without anything set, basically, it should act as a waypoint. So, for example, if I clear this and just don't give this a condition, and let's give this one a condition. Let's give this one a full wagon condition. If we add, so then if we send this train here, we can have it basically use this specific stop as a waypoint, and you can force trains to then go a specific path if you want them to. So if we tell this train to go, instead of taking this top path, which it normally would, it's going to be forced to take this bottom path because it's using this station as a waypoint, but it won't actually stop at it, which is super neat. So you can basically control direct train paths with this by just having a station without a condition. And then with this, you can actually create temporary stations. So if we go here and find temporary stations. Okay, so trains can be given temporary stations, control clicking on the map. So if I give a thing here, for example, station automatically remove once a train departs. Okay, I think I have to actually do that. Or use a station. That would be smart. So there we go. This should theoretically work. I'm not sure why this train is not wanting to go. Trains can be given temporary stations by control clicking the map. I don't know how else I'm supposed to be doing this, guys. I'm sorry. I wanted to get this. I don't know. But you can create temporary stations. I'll think about that while we cover other stuff. So, but one thing that you can do here, if we do just put like another normal station down, then basically, so this is Hartsworth. I want to show you this GUI. It actually shows you like the train's path as it's going. So let's just do a full wagon condition again. And we send it to Hartsworth. You can see now here, actually, you can like follow the path it's on, which is really, really cool. I really don't understand why this is not allowing me to create a temporary station. I am control clicking. Oh, it's shift click. Aha, they had it wrong. So if we get rid of this one, so train stop, this thing, oh no, that's just a ghost. So add station, I'm not quite sure. Okay, so there's that. I think we're almost done here, guys. There's so much stuff. Blueprint. So when stuff fails, you've seen this in the video already. It'll give you a flying text as to why it won't work. So like if I take a box and try to put it here, electric furnace is in the way, pipe is in the way. It does all kind of stuff, blueprints and such. It'll show you, which is really cool. Undo function, we already covered that. Trains. Passenger preset / not preset way condition, which is cool. So you can now have a way condition, which is actually for passengers. So you can tell it to go somewhere and then like wait until someone's in it and then it will go, which is super nice. There's now belt immunity equipment by default in the game. You used to be able to get it with command, but you can do it here. Landfill can now be built by robots and included in blueprints, which is super cool. Robots can now blow up cliffs, which is awesome. I don't see... Ooh, they've changed cliff graphics too. So if we like deconstruct this, I'm pretty sure we actually need cliff explosives, but there you go. You can see they blow up the cliffs, just like the mod, which is awesome. I think we're about done. There's a hand now, which means that it will prevent a slot from being taken over. So like when you take something, right? This will block it out so that a bot like can't bring you something in this slot and then fill it up and then you have no room, which is pretty cool. With that, if you go to build something, like use the pipette tool, so let's get like rid of all of our boxes. and you don't have the item, and go to place it, it'll ghost place it, basically. I think it's not working because I'm in cheat mode, but yeah, basically this will just act as a ghost instead of just like not letting you place it at all like it used to, which is really cool. Player reach increased from 6 to 10. Catalysts have been tweaked so the CoverX enrichment process can now be used with productivity modules, which is pretty interesting. So you can now put productivity modules in the CoverX enrichment process, which is obviously done in a centrifuge. There's also 250 and 1,000 hour specific markers in your production graph, which also looks different, which is pretty cool. So you can now look even farther back. So you have 1,000 hours save and you want to look at that instead of doing all, which is pretty neat. So lastly, I think, is the enemies. Enemy graphics have changed. You can see the worms changed, and you can now dodge. So you can see he's shooting at me, but you can now dodge projectiles. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot these guys. So he's like predictively trying to shoot me where I'm going. Like if I run in a straight line, he should be able... Oh wow, he's getting upset. You can see he hits me if I run in a straight line, but you can now dodge this, which is pretty cool. He's having some problems. But when you do get hit, as you saw, it actually slows me and is a little bit of a continued slow, which is pretty interesting. So if we just pull up the editor again, and I throw down some... So you can see the spitters are now changed, as they showed in the Friday Facts, and the biters look much different. So you can see these biters here are now pretty terrifying. They're like super creepy. So I'm gonna get wrecked. But these guys are actually like terrifying right now. These things are actually really look like horrible bugs. And I'm dead. So there you go. But you can see all these changes now. I'm sorry I couldn't get the temporary station to work. I control clicking on the map. I don't understand why it's not working. I should have tested it before the video, but even if I did, I don't think I could get it to work. So I don't think I'd be able to show it. I apologize for that, guys. I'm not quite sure. Like I'm in a train. I don't know. But trains can now be blueprinted, which is one other thing I forgot to mention. You can now blueprint. Well, you can see I can ghost place a train, as I just did there. But if we do this, we should be able to like blueprint these trains. You can see here there's a little trains checkbox, which lets me then blueprint it, which is super cool. You can also deconstruct trains too. Boom. You can just take them off the track, which is super, super neat. In fact, I wonder... If I think you could just blacklist or whitelist trains specifically if you don't want them to pull up the track underneath it, which is super nice. So I believe that does it, guys. It's a fairly long video, but I wanted to cover as much as I could. Again, I apologize for not being able to show the temporary station. Maybe they didn't implement it correctly, or I'm just really dumb. Let me know if you guys figure it out. But it should be pretty straightforward. What it does is it just creates a temporary station that once the train gets to it, it removes it from the map. So this is really good for like getting to the end of a line you're working on. If you don't place a stop there already, you can do a temporary station. The train will go there, and then the stop will be gone and won't interfere with stuff later. There's also like progress stuff, like when you load and unload trains, it'll show the progress bar. Pretty simple visual stuff. Like I'm not going to show every single thing, like I said, but hopefully this gives you guys a good idea of all the changes. There's a ton of stuff, really awesome. Let me know if you have any questions or there's any major stuff I missed. This is a massive changelog. I tried to look through all of it and take down notes, but I may have forgotten stuff. Yeah, I believe that's it, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you did enjoy, I would appreciate a like and stuff and sharing the video so others can find it and hopefully be of help too. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.